Oh crap, my mic wasn't on, was it? Ah, crap. Okay, so since no one heard what I said, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to explain the positives and negatives of two things of your base, and if possible, I will explain more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say pick 2 or 3 things of the base, and then I'm going to explain the positives and negatives of those. Right now, first, but in the thing, the home base is literally just a home base. Like this right here, you have to upgrade it if you want to continue with the story. So you either way, if you don't want to upgrade it or not, you still have to upgrade it. But so I recommend. So my first thing I'm going to talk about is upgrading these two: workbench and infirmary. Most people are like, oh, why do we want an infirmary and the workbench? Why do you think that's good? So the positives of upgrading those is upgrading the workbench gives you better weapons. Infirmary makes it so you can take more hits. You got be like more durability and stuff. If you combine with those two, you'll be able to take more damage and deal out the same amount of damage as if you're like ready to fight. But the bad thing about it is, if you're traveling a lot and you have a bunch of health and weapons, it's gonna take a while before you actually might like go to an area and actually have to fight anyone. There is areas where they drop enemies and drop like that areas. I'm pretty sure you might. I'm pretty sure if you want to fight like an epic, I'm pretty sure you might not fight it as soon as you unless you go to a certain area. So that's the negatives. But the also another negative about having those, just upgrading those two first, is if you just upgrade your weapons, your vehicle. If you are one of those people who works with AIs and stuff, like if you work with AIs, like I prefer to play with AIs and my friends and stuff, it might not help you out because like if you you can't do as much damage and all that stuff. And the negative is if you have a health kit, without that you won't be able to heal as fast, like as efficiently as you see. Hang on. Where is it? Like this makes it so you can medkits heal you for more and give you more health. If you have these two, you have a lot of health, but at the same time you won't be able to have so much, you won't be able to heal as much health as you're taking. But my next combo I'm thinking of is the infirmary and the healing garden. The positive about the infirmary and the healing garden is you can heal yourself, like you can take so much damage and heal yourself as much as that damage. But the problem, the bad side about that is you, at the same time, you don't have good transportation, and you won't be able to do as much damage as you want to. Which that is one of the that is some of those negatives. But at the same time, another one you could do is gun for hire, and I think it was explosives. Yeah, training camp and explosive labs. Most people, you're like, oh, why do I want to? Why is these two a good combo? Because if I'm correct, if you're able to certain characters, hang on, if I'm correct, there's if you go to the roster, I have everyone. So some characters are immune, and like most of these do explosives or like throw dynamite, do a bunch of explosive damage and all that stuff. Especially like Herc. Especially if you choose Herc Junior, he uses a lot of explosives, which I don't know if this still works. But if you increase how much damage he does, you'll be able to, and you, like most, I do this sometimes too. If you do a lot of damage with throwables, you don't actually have to get close and personal. Because you can tell your guy to fight, and you can just throw throwables from a distance. Like, or if I'm correct, if I have, I usually go judge. If I have judge, and I throw bait, the animals will, they will attack the animals, and I'll be purely clean of all the damage and all that stuff, so I won't be attacked while my guy's doing all the work. But at the same time, I'm throwing a bunch of consumables and all that stuff, so it costs resources to make, I know, but if you have enough resources, you can just keep throwing them and throwing them, so you don't have to worry about you being caught or seen, because you're busy focusing on your guy. There's a small chance you'll be seen, but the negative is about that is you won't be able to do as much damage, but you will take more damage you will take a bunch more damage as well. Like, you won't be able to take as much damage as you want, and you won't be able to heal as good as you want either. But, one of my friends asked me, like, one of my friends asked me about this one, the garage and the expeditions. They're like, oh, why is this so good? Why do I want these? Well, you want the expeditions and the garage because they give you better. One gives you better cars. One lets you transportate, fast travel, all that stuff. If you're a person who travels a lot and do a lot of missions, like you have to like scavenge, grab some stuff, run. And if you want, some of these things have guns. Some vehicles have guns. So at the same time, the good thing is you travel a lot, so you can do most of the damage, kill stuff, and get certain stuff that you want. But the negative about that is once your car is destroyed, you take a buttload of damage, and you won't be able to heal all that damage in time. And the same thing with what I said is if you have an AI with you, it's going to cost you a bunch of stuff because they're not strong enough to take. Some AIs are stronger, but not all AIs are strong enough to take a car explosion. Believe me. But another combination you can do is let me think of one. The workbench and the explosive labs. The explosive labs and workbench is good because if you get the explosive bench, you'll be able to get a bunch of stuff like this. But and also, if you really want to, if you get high enough, you'll be able to buy. If you're high enough or have good enough stuff, you'll be able to buy stuff like RPGs, grenade launchers, all that stuff, like a bunch of explosion types of weapons. So by the time that you get to the enemy base, you'll be blowing up the stuff before they even realize what's happening. But the negative about that is these explosives hurt you as well. So if you do a lot of damage, if you're not careful, you might kill yourself with your own explosives and weapons. But that also, you have to give up your choices for getting a bunch of health and a bunch of healing yourself, and you also have to give up your transportation and able to fast travel and stuff. But in the infirmary, you won't have as much health, so you won't be able to take as much damage. So another thing to get is one of the three I recommend is infirmary, workbench, and explosive labs. I recommend those three because if you can do a lot of damage, have a lot of health, and do a bunch of explosions as well, you're good. Like, but the problem is, the only bad side about that, most of the bad side is you won't be able to heal as much as you have a bunch of health. Like, you have a bunch of health, but I can't heal fast enough to fix up all this damage. You're taking a bunch of damage, but you can't heal as much damage as you want. You'll be too busy healing yourself than actually fighting. And that's a bad thing, because if you want to fight, you have to be ready to fight and not be worrying about healing yourself every 5 seconds. And you also have to give up some of your transportation and some of your fast travels and stuff. And this is for noobs, like these people, not completely noobs, but people who are new, or they have trouble choosing what they want to upgrade in their base. Which, don't worry, I had that problem too, until I decided, hey, let's just so I decided to upgrade my workbench first, because I was able to do a bunch of damage. Hello, I'm viewer. But another thing another combination.
Are you done yet?
Another combination you can do is this and workbench. What that does is that helps you be able to find enemies, find secret locations, find loot, which you can use that to help you find certain enemies or certain creatures. Like here, if you go here, I use the map, I can help me find shit like gear stashes, springs, and treasure hunt, music stuff. And I can also help me if I want certain skins, like if I want, you have to upgrade a certain amount of times, but if I want to get monster stuff, I have good weapons, so I can fight these things, and I know where they are, so it makes it easier for me to track them down.
Play.
And so, sorry, whoever that was, that was my friend, and he hates me. His goal is to make sure I get banned, so that's normal if you see him saying that stuff. But his goal is to get me banned. But another combination is this and this. Wait, hang on. No,
find something.
You can have a combination. You can do as a training camp, and you can also do this. What the training camp does is in case how many strong your guys are. If you have that as well, you don't have to have strong guns and strong weapons if you have a bunch of strong guys doing the work for you. You could be looting and taking all the stuff at the same, like, you could be looting where one of my guys is killing the enemy. Which, the bad thing about that part is if your companion...
no homo but you. Are so boring.
If your teammate dies in the process, well, that's a bad thing, because you won't be able to defend yourself if you have too much stuff. But, another combination, so I think this might be one of the last ones, is, I think one of my other friends recommended this, garage, training camp, and, if I'm correct, expeditions, which expeditions are good, which what they did was made it so the person would, like, they had someone driving them a whole bunch, and after they finished driving the mission, their person would be shooting and defending them while they would be in the car, and at the same time as they were shooting and driving them and doing all that stuff, as soon as they finished it, they teleported right back to the base, which I recommend. It was a good strategy, but the only bad side about that is once your little companion kind of dies, you're kind of screwed because you don't you don't have anything you can use to defend yourself. Which the bad thing about not being able to defend yourself is, at the same time, you won't be able to heal yourself enough. Or if you have enough. First, I recommend what I recommend for people who just have enough for like one thing. I recommend.
Yes, screw me, daddy.
As you see, I said everything. What I recommend getting workbench, infirmary, then getting vehicle, then getting health guardians, getting expeditions, then getting training camp, explosives, and then get intel. I recommend that order because intel's not that good until you get to a certain level. Explosive labs, I recommend upgrading your training camp first before you upgrade your guys. Because if you upgrade your guys before you get explosives, they'll be able to survive more of a, like, if you do a blast attack, like explosives, you're strong enough to take that blast and keep on running and fighting. But I hope this video was helpful, and if it is, I hope you guys like it, and I hope to make more videos that helps you out and makes you better at the game. And give me some of your tips, like what do you think would be a good combination for your team or your playthrough, or what combination you did in your playthrough that made it really easy for you, or made it most difficult to you. I'll listen to either one, and if you give me one that was difficult for you, I can explain how you could fix that and help you out. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys like the video.